In this video, we'll talk through 3 cybersecurity roles. We'll look at security analyst, incident responder and threat hunter. We'll take a peek at the day in the life of each one, the challenges they face and the steps that you can take if the job sounds right for you. Stick around to the end of the video, I'll give you an example interview question and answer for each of these jobs. Now before I jump into these, I will be using some technical terms throughout the video, so if I say something I think is worth you knowing, I'll flash up the name on the screen. When you see this, just pause the video, go Google the term, before watching. That way you might learn something and you'll understand what the hell I'm talking about. Starting with a security analyst or SOC analyst, these are typically come in 3 levels: junior, senior, principal, or tier 1, 2 and 3 depending on your organisation. But there's also room for an associate analyst, which is a perfect entry point for anyone looking to move into the security world. Now not all security operation centres are created equally. You will find significant difference in roles and responsibilities depending on maturity, the industry and the budget of the SOC. Let's break down the different tiers of analysts and talk about the types of work they may be required to do. At the entry level, we have our junior analysts. Now these are the people who are triaging the detections on the security product. This will typically be in the form of a SIEM or security incident and event management tool, which is used to correlate data from many sources to provide near real-time overview of what is happening within the environment. The analysts who are operating at this level will fast become the experts in driving this technology and will be the ones running queries and recommending tuning for false positives, showing that value can be provided at every level. They'll also be creating escalations for suspicious activities to the senior or tier 2 analysts. Senior analysts will also be triaging detections alongside the tier 1 or junior analyst, but in addition to this, their responsibilities will extend to reviewing and authorising the tuning of false positives, being a technical mentor to the junior team members, as well as taking the lead on any true positive detections. Now a true positive is a detection that shows something unusual or malicious happening in the environment. Once a true positive detection has been identified, it will most likely be reclassified as an incident, and a lot of different things may happen depending on the severity. For example, if a user connected to a Tor node or installed cracked software, which is typically bundled with free malware, the response would not need to be as immediate or as potentially disruptive as if the detection was an external IP address connecting via a web server attempting to run commands to access the domain controller's ntds.dip file. The senior analyst will be the initial point of contact for this incident and will coordinate with the appropriate customer stakeholders or business units that may be impacted. They will direct the junior team members in what actions to take and compare notes with the incident response team as appropriate. They will also provide status updates to the SOC manager and the principal analyst. The principal analyst will be responsible for overseeing and coordinating all of the active incidents in the SOC. They will also have final say on any tuning decisions that could impact the SIEM or the SOC's ability to operate effectively. The principal analyst will need to be highly technical, but also understand the business risk and be comfortable speaking at every level of the organisation. They will be the conduit that filters and translates technical jargon from the SOC into the business language that can be understood and digested by company leaders. They will also work with the incident response team to ensure that information on findings and new threats are passed in both directions and provide updates to SOC leadership. The principal analyst needs to be the go-to person for any active incident being dealt with by that SOC. Incident response has evolved in recent years. In the past, this was all about grabbing dead disk images where the machine would be powered off, the drive removed and a byte-for-byte copy of the disk taken for later analysis. This mindset is starting to shift, partly because of the way data is stored in SSDs and cloud technologies, but also because of the volume of data that is stored. This means that modern IR teams are able to triage data at scale with tools such as Cape and Velociraptor, or commercial tools such as Encase or FTK. EDR or endpoint detection and response products are also providing a way to grab these valuable artifacts at scale. These tools are also allowing for remediation at scale. The more junior roles in IR would typically be tasked with the acquisition of the data. So as with the SOC analyst, the person operating at this level will become adept with the tooling and the best way to drive it. When it comes to the investigation, this person will be looking to triage the data and flag any known artifacts of interest. They will work with the other team members to populate the incident response timeline, and when it comes to the all-important report, the junior analyst will assist in the creation and populate the portions that they have investigated. They will also provide a peer review of ongoing drafts for the senior analyst to help with sanity checks. The senior analyst will also work on data acquisition and triage alongside the junior analyst, helping to guide them in best practices and prioritization. The person in this role will be familiar with the common artifact locations and how best to interpret the data. They will also be able to work on novel problems. Now this could take the form of new or unusual application artifacts, new versions of common operating systems, log files from network or security devices, or anti-forensic techniques being employed by the attacker. The senior analyst will be the main author of the incident response report that is produced. Now these can vary in length and complexity depending on the customer, the attacker, or both. The senior analyst will also work with any legal counsel or external agency that has been included in this case, ensuring that the other analysts working on the case are aware of any sensitive conditions, such as working under privilege. The principal analyst is a technical lead when it comes to incident response. They're the go-to person when it comes to problem solving or escalations. While they may not get involved in the data acquisition aspect, they will step in and help provide guidance on the more novel or esoteric elements of the investigation. This person will be the bridge to other teams internally and will act as an escalation point for any external queries or issues, such as if the customer is requesting for certain details to be excluded from the report that may cause them embarrassment, or they may be required to ensure that internal dialogue is being accurately recorded should legal discovery be required. Threat hunting is one of those jobs that varies depending on which organisation is advertising for that role. This can both be a positive and a negative. If you're planning on applying for a threat hunter role, I'd recommend that you ask for specifics regarding what your day job will be in order to ensure your expectations are aligned with what's on offer. There are two types of threat hunting that are seen within this role. These are retroactive and proactive. Quite simply, as the name suggests, one looks for things that have happened in the past and will base primarily off external intelligence sources. The other will be looking at what is currently happening in the environment, looking for suspicious behaviours that haven't generated a detection for the SOC team. The junior threat hunting role will be monitoring intelligence feeds, both open and closed source, and using this information to hunt across the environment. These feeds may have come from a subscription service to a threat intelligence company, from tippers that are sent out to certain industries or companies if an attack group is active in the area, from open mediums such as social media or research blogs, or from investigations, whether they be ongoing or recently concluded. The junior analyst will be charged with documenting findings from investigations and working with senior threat hunter to develop new methods of detecting attacks. The senior threat hunter will lead the threat hunting operations and mentor the junior or inexperienced team members. They will have a high level of knowledge of the network or be in a position to work closely with the subject matter experts to understand what normal looks like. This person will correlate findings from multiple sources and use that data and threat hunting tooling to identify sophisticated threats. And when I say threat hunting tooling, these may be the same as the SIEM tools that as a SOC uses. By using the same tooling, these teams can work together, passing each other information and leads. The important part for a senior threat hunter is that they're able to access the raw data in order to use that to dig into exactly what is happening in the network. In order to get this level of data, the senior analyst can engage with the principal analyst to ensure that they have a good level of coverage of the infrastructure. The principal threat hunter will be the person to work with stakeholders to ensure that full visibility of the network is achieved. The architecture and implementation may fall to another team such as engineering team or network architects, but the principal analyst will lead the charge when it comes to ensuring everything can be seen. They will also be responsible for implementing the administration side of threat hunting, such as working with a senior analyst to decide on the best threat feeds, then work with the internal stakeholders to make a business case for these feeds. The principal analyst will also be the one responsible for advising the leadership teams on advanced threats that are affecting the organization, so they will need to have the ability to discuss these highly technical details in a way the business can understand. As promised, we will look at some example interview questions. Just bear in mind that these aren't so you can memorize the answer, but are an aid to understanding why the question is being asked. So I'll talk a little bit about each one as we go. There will be one question per role, and if you'd like to see more interview questions, let me know down in the comments section. And if you did enjoy the video, please hit the like button while you're down there. So the first question is for a SOC analyst, which is what is a false positive and what actions can you take if you find one? Now there are many different ways to answer this one, but ultimately what you're trying to get across is that a false positive detection is where an alert has been classified as malicious on benign behaviour. Now this can occur if the rule logic is set up incorrectly, or if a tool or program displays characteristics that may be similar to malicious activity. In terms of what actions you should take, you should investigate what caused the false positive detection in the first place and then make a decision based off that. Now this just may be as simple as adjusting the rule logic, adding in an exclusion, or changing the way the tool or program works. So this question is a good opportunity for you to show that you understand what a false positive is. Don't worry about the exact wording, you just need to relay the fact that this is an incorrect state. If you have examples of past experience, then use it. If not, then talk generally about what you could cause a false positive. And remember, every environment is different and you aren't expected to know the logic of every rule. Now for the incident response question. Explain at a high level how ransomware attacks typically unfold. Now the answer to this question will differ depending on which level of seniority you are going for within a company, but I will give you my version of the answer, which just covers what has been asked in this question. So initially, the threat actor will gain sufficient access to compromise the whole network. So there will be a pre-ransomware attack where the attacker uses privilege escalations and reconnaissance techniques to remove around the network. They'll be looking for backup servers, virtual machine hypervisors such as ESXi servers, and looking for where data is stored, such as database servers or file servers. The attacker will then most likely exfiltrate a large amount of data to be used as extortion should the ransom not be paid, and once this is done, they will deploy the ransomware. User-facing systems should still boot up so the attacker's ransom note can be displayed. This usually is written to every folder that has ransom data and will also be added to the user's startup locations so that it is displayed prominently. Finally, the attacker may also contact the company directly in order to open a dialogue that they hope will lead to them being paid. This may be done discreetly, but often is not, and is sent to the whole company, as well as a company's customers. This question can be used to gauge a level of experience a candidate has. It's quite open-ended, and the answer I gave is high level and misses out a few points, but it does cover the crux of what's being asked. A good interview would build off this question with follow-up questions, which could branch off in any direction, and give the candidate a good idea of the mindset of what the company is and what they are expecting. So here we are on interview question number 3, threat hunters. If you had to see a command prompt spawn from a web server process, walk me through your thoughts and actions. Now again, this question could easily be applied to a SOC, as some of the other questions could easily be applied to this role as well. The answer I've given for this question is, it is unusual to see a command prompt spawn from a web service, but that doesn't immediately make it malicious. I would start investigating by understanding what the web service is and what it's connected to. If it's a public facing device that is publicly accessible, then it is a much more serious threat than if the device is an internal only system. It is also possible this device is designed to spawn command prompts. It may be an internal tool that is used by engineers, or this could be an exploit that has spawned this command prompt. I would work on the assumption this was not legitimate and work from that angle. So I would inform the SOC that we've seen something unusual and they're investigating. This would allow them to have a heightened security posture and potentially aid in my investigation. I would then look at the web logs for this device and see what actions were being taken around the same time, looking for HTTP posts specifically, but also looking for other unusual activity, taking note of the IP addresses and commands run using subsequent hunts. Also utilizing security tooling to see what commands were run from this command prompt and how long it was open for. If necessary, informing the SOC to isolate the host for the incident response team to launch an investigation. If you enjoyed that video, please click that subscribe button and let me know if there are any other topics you want me to cover. Until next time, thank you for watching.